Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday. It is the 27th day of February 2023. I hope you had a good weekend and that your weekend was safe and healthy, and that your family also was safe and healthy during this weekend, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field, who, along with the first responders, every day are saving lives. Blessings also upon those that pick up garbage for us to keep streets and sidewalks, parks, places clean, and those that make deliveries of important things like food and water and mail for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here helping to rescue, deliver, and recover both the teenagers and the children who are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. The victims also of pornography and child pornography. The victims of prostitution and child prostitution. The victims of human trafficking and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators. Double curses on the profiteers. Double curses on the perverts who are out here creating and working in this heinous industry. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. There are nearly 600,000 men, women, and children, mostly children, living on the streets of the United States of America, and many more millions around the world in similar or worse conditions. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There's a scheduled basketball game tonight. And brethren, the Knicks Nation, this is a big one. Now, before we talk about that, let's just review. The Knicks won big games over the weekend. As we said, after the All-Star break, when you're in the playoff hunt, every game is big. Every game is big. And so right now, as we sit today on Monday, the 27th of February, the Knicks are tied with the Brooklyn Nets for fifth seed. We expect the Knicks to make moves forward overall over this next 20 games and take the fifth seed now, because Brooklyn, while they're a scrappy team, while they struggle with the loss of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, two superstars, bona fide superstars, championship pieces, they still, Jock Vaughn's doing a great job. They still are scrapping. They still fighting every game. But because of the sudden loss of both of these players, because of the newness of their group in terms of continuity, they probably will not finish in the top six in the East. They will probably sink, and somebody's going to take their spot. The biggest candidate to do that is Miami. Now, important thing as we talk about going forward. Again, the Knicks won two big games, Wizards, Pelicans, and the Knicks coming out of the break, it's like they really wasn't in their stride yet. So you're going to see even better basketball from the New York Knicks, I anticipate, going forward. Will they win every game? No. But you're going to see an overall better, more intense playoff atmosphere like you're going to see tonight. Basketball going forward. The addition of Josh Hart at the trade deadline, major piece, major acquisition for the Knicks. Will improve the mob deep, will improve the offense, will improve the defense. Just a major acquisition. He is, I'm Deuce Hive, and so Deuce is a lot like Hart, but Hart is in his prime and has more experience, right? Hart is 28, gonna be 29, I think, or 28, somewhere in that range, whereas Deuce is 22. Hart is more ready right now for playoff basketball. And so, as much as I love Deuce McBride, and I believe he's going to have a very successful career in the NBA, hopefully in New York, right now, the way we're going, Hart is ready right now to help the Knicks win some playoff games. So, this going forward is very important. But here's some very important caveats. The two times that the Knicks played Boston, the first time they played Boston, the Knicks lost 133-118. Mitchell Robinson's knee was hurt at that time. And at that time, the Knicks Tom Thibodeau had not decided on his permanent rotation. At that game, I'm looking at that game, he actually played a total of 9 players. He had Fournier and Derrick Rose in the rotation at that time. It was after that, probably a month later, that Tibbs went to the 9-man rotation and stuck with that in terms of he took Fournier and Rose pretty much out the lineup. He took Reddish. Reddish started in that last game that first game that they lost to Boston. He was starting at the small forward spot. But That time, since that time, Tom Thibodeau shortened his rotation, took players, those three particularly, out of the rotation, replaced them with McBride, and the Knicks started to roll. As you know, they went 8 straight. But then the second time the Knicks played Boston, it was in January, and Mitch Rob wasn't in that game either, and so Mitch Rob wasn't in that game, and the Knicks won that game. That was the game where they started to adjust with the loss of Mitchell Robinson. That was a game where Jericho Sims started at the 5 spot, and and again, Jericho Sims is not Mitchell Robinson. Um, Isaiah Hartenstein is not Mitchell Robinson, but the Knicks won that game in overtime. Randall had 37. This was a game where RJ was getting cooked by Tatum. He was just getting done up by Tatum. And in the fourth quarter, Randall, the end of the third, beginning of the fourth, and through the fourth, Randall guarded Tatum. Different story. Okay. That was one of the first times I noticed that this season where Randall decided, okay, I'm going to take over for RJ on this guy because I'm going to guard. And he did a tremendous job on Tatum at that time. Again, that was without Mitchell Robinson. Okay. Brunson had 29. RJ had 19. They were scoring a little bit, but we have Tatum guarding Brown and I mean, excuse me, we have Grimes guarding Brown and Tatum. We need a second guy, and RJ wasn't doing his thing then. I mean, he was really getting done up. So then here come Julius, and so we had Grimes and Julius in that starting lineup guard. And man, they did a tremendous job. Quickly had a good game that game, but the defense picked up, and that's what got us that W. So now, tonight, this is the first time that Mitchell Robinson, or should I say that the Celtics are going to be having to deal with Mitchell Robinson. That's good. That's very good. And so there's that. Again, when Knicks Boston play, throw the records out. It's going to be a dogfight. When Knicks and Boston play, it's going to be playoff atmosphere, whether it's November, whether it's February, or of course later on. It's going to be playoff atmosphere. This is going to be a big game. The Knicks win this game. They have sole possession of the 5th seed, and they still got to play Brooklyn on Wednesday. So either way, the Knicks got 2 shots basically at getting sole possession of the 5th seed. But tonight's the first one. So the Celtics are hot. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They have won 3 straight. The Knicks are hot. 8-2 in their last 10 games, have won 5 straight. We got 5 on it, right? So look, this is gonna be a game tonight. This is gonna be a game. Both teams playing at a high level in the Garden. If you're a Knicks fan, it does not get any better than this. It really doesn't, especially in a regular season game. I mean, you're going to get the playoffs. That's going to be a whole different thing. In fact, this whole part of the year is exciting if you're a Knicks fan because the Knicks playing the best ball as they usually do after the All-Star break. Again, 2 years ago, we made the deal for Derrick Rose that catapulted the Knicks into the 4th seed. This time, they made the deal for Josh Hart. And I anticipate that same movement upward. So starting tonight. So if the Knicks can pull out this game, and it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a fight to the end. This ain't going to be no blowout like it was against the Pelicans. This is going to be more like what we've seen for most of the Knicks games. Grind it out, fight it out, 4th quarter execution, 4th quarter getting stops. This is a key here. That's why I'm really high on the fact that Mitchell Robinson's coming back. Getting key stops at the end of the game, on a tight game, in the playoffs. That's how teams win championships, see? So that's how good teams win. Good thing also, another little quirk in the schedule I wanted to mention. Now, I mentioned before that the biggest opposition, in my view, for the Knicks in the East is the Bucks. And again, I mentioned because the Bucks just match up very well with the Knicks. They just match up very well with the Knicks. They like the Knicks kryptonite. Antetokounmpo, as it turns out, had a thigh bruise. He missed the game yesterday. They still won. Okay, Milwaukee's hot. They're hottest team in the NBA right now. They won 14 straight. These guys are half a game behind Boston. So the Knicks beating Boston tonight, Milwaukee would either be probably tied with Boston for the top spot in the East. Now, the thing is, down the stretch here, these last 20 games, the Knicks don't play Milwaukee anymore. But Boston and Philly and Miami, they all play the Bucks. That's big time. From what I read yesterday, Budenholzer reported he doesn't expect the freak to miss, Giannis to miss any significant time here. He just missed the game yesterday and they still won. So that's just a high level execution of a championship team. So I'm glad the Knicks don't have to deal with them in these last 20 games. We're going to be playing Miami. We're going to be playing Brooklyn. We're going to be playing Cleveland a lot. By the way, I mean, we follow still our boy Cam Reddish, right? So last night I tuned in to the Portland game against Houston. Cam played Cam, but last night belonged to Dame Dollar. I don't know if y'all know, but Dame Dollar dropped 71. It was ridiculous what he was doing last night for Portland. And what it was, you could see Cam was kept feeding him the ball. All of them, they just kept feeding him the ball because they wanted him to get more. Homie dropped 71 last night. I mean, he was ridiculous last night, Dame Dollar. It was a great game. But it's good to see Cam is fitting in very well in Portland at this point. And Portland actually, is very, talk about a tight race. I'm Knicks Nation, right? But Cam is our boy. Once a Knick, always a Knick. Cam is our boy. And I know he didn't fit in this rotation, but I wish him the best, and I'm following his progress. Right now, in the West, Portland is actually in the 11th spot. But there's only between really the 6th seed and the 11th seed, 2 games separates Dallas in the 6th seed from Portland in the 11th seed. That's how close it is. So right now, Portland's a half game behind the Pelicans, half game behind Minnesota, 1 game behind Utah, game and a half behind Golden State. It's going to be a battle, And since, our boy Cam is on Portland, I'm pulling now for Portland to move up in them ratings right there. I'm looking for Portland to make a move, right? So that's why I'm just letting y'all know that on the side note. But the Knicks are going to be playing like all of the East is going to be like it's going to get intense. But the only team they don't have to play in the last 20 games is Milwaukee. Picture that. So, but all of our adversaries, especially Brooklyn, Miami, Cleveland, Philly, they all got to play Milwaukee. Right? So let them eat each other up while the Knicks do their business, right? So this is a little quirk in the schedule I just wanted to mention because this is very important for us. So right now, this week, we play Boston tonight, then Brooklyn, then Miami, then Boston again next Sunday. So it's Boston, home and home. And that same, in between that, sandwich in between that is Brooklyn and Miami. Big week for the Knicks starting tonight. The Knicks really come out the break, handled their business last weekend in beating both Washington, who is another hot team, beating Washington, and then, of course, stomping all over the Pelicans. So now, this is where it's on right here. This big week. If the Knicks could really do damage in the East this week, they could really do damage. I like the Knicks, I'm thinking, as I said, 4 games, they should be at least 2-2. I'm thinking they can go 3-1 in these next 4 games. When you're talking about Boston, Brooklyn, Miami, I think they can go 3-1, but I'm gonna just say 2-2. And then after that, they play Charlotte, and I think they could beat Charlotte. I'm not gonna diss on Charlotte, but I think they could beat Charlotte. So I'm thinking in these next 5 games, then they could go 3-2, which means at the end of this 5-game stretch, they should be no worse than 38-29. They could be better, but they should be no worse than 38-29. Okay, that would be 9 games above 500. So starting tonight in the Garden against Boston, it's on. Let's go Knicks. Enjoy your Monday. Shalom.